So drama is one of the main things that we like to use in our children's church, and I think most people do because it really is kind of one of the easier things to do sometimes, not all the time. But the reason we do this one is to hopefully give you some tips, some ideas, and some lessons on how to act, just a little bit, okay? Jesus used parables to tell his stories. If you look at it, all the Gospels related in parables. Basically, skits are a parable. They're telling a story, just live action. So just remember that when you're doing that, you're trying to get a message across to the kids. The biggest thing is, and I mentioned it with your testimonies about, you don't need to tell the kids about drugs, all that. Same thing with your skits. Keep it at their level. Okay? You don't need to go into parties, things like that. They don't need any of that. One of the things I always, when we have our topics or anything, we have what we call brainstormings or practices, we meet, I'm going, okay, here's our topic. How does it relate to kids? Not how it relates to you, but how does it relate to the children? So you got to get a mindset of a child. Even your teenagers, sometimes they're going to go a little bit too, more towards what they're going through than what your kids. So, you think about joy. How can you do a skit on joy for your kids? Now, not what brings you joy, but what brings kids joy, what brings kids sadness. So you got to have the mindset when you're ministering, you're at their level. Things that bring it home to them. So that means a lot of times you need to act like a child on your skits. That means dressing up, playing the part, going at their level, being a child. We have a lot, and, we've had it in the past where, now we're not in the whole trans movement, but sometimes we've had to put beards on girls because we didn't have enough guys. It's just the way it goes. Most of the girls did not like that, so, we're like, sorry guys, but that's just kind of the way it goes. But you want to keep it at their level. You want to have a good time doing it because drama is one of the best way to suck kids in, okay? Is they want to see it live. Again, it's a learning visual. It's how they learn. Everything that we did is all teaching techniques that we do with our kids. Like, you saw with the goofy puppet, we could have done that all for a long time because the kids love him. I don't know why, but they do. I can only do it for about 3 minutes and I'm done because I don't practice enough with him, but we have a good time. But so you want to have skits that relate to the kids. You can do 2 parts, 3 parts, and even if you don't have a lot of kids, we're going to show you a method, or if you don't have a lot of people who can work, we're going to show you a method how to use the kids as part of your skits, because a lot of times like, well, we don't have a lot of people. Well, we have a way of doing that. So, but when you're doing your dramas, do it with all your heart. If you're a little kid, be a little kid. Don't be an adult. Be a little kid. Enjoy. Get the high squeaky voice, things like that. Like I do the puppet. Most people don't realize in my church that I actually do the puppet. They always wonder, all the kids wonder who does it because I can get my voice really high and squeaky and have a good time with them. So when you're doing that, but when I tell stories, I have to be careful not to get that voice because I like to do kid voices. And so that comes out and they're like, it is you. And then, kids always like to know the secrets. So that was one thing I forgot in object lessons. Don't tell the kids any secrets of how you do anything. Just amaze them and make them think you're great. So dramas. This is an opportunity to have your young people help you with dramas. This is a perfect opportunity for them. You can write the skits, you can do the skits for, but it's also an opportunity for your own kids to write. I'm not a great writer of skits. I've done a few plays. I've done a lot of stuff. I let my creative mind work. My problem is English is my second language. I don't really have a first language. I am not an English scholar whatsoever. Thank God I married one. God knew that. I write stuff and I say, babe, make it English, okay? Make it understandable. So modern technologies help me a lot with that, but, I write. But, in Tucson, we have our conference and we do really elaborate plays. We write them ourselves. My son is one of the writers. He's really good at it. But again, through drama is what drew him into children's ministry. He loved drama, and I remember talking to him. He goes, yeah, Dad, even though we do these plays, I would have little itty-bitty parts in it. And he goes, but that's what kept me coming back, because, I enjoy just being used. So it is a great opportunity for your kids to be used in drama. So again, Sometimes let your young servants write skits. They may be terrible, but give them that opportunity to fail. But when you give them that opportunity to fail, but you're also giving them an opportunity to succeed. That's the whole thing about children's churches. It doesn't have to be perfect. Kids actually like it when it's not so perfect. Now, I don't purposely mess up and try to ruin everything, but just something that doesn't go right, but that's okay. It's a ground to raise up the next generation, to get your next actors to become the Tucson. Some of our best actors all came from children's ministry. They learned how to do plays. I remember Nehemiah King, Pastor King's son, remember he went to do one of the first big plays he was ever doing in the front of the main service. Remember, he came back to me and goes, it's so easy. Because he played main parts in children's church, and you're doing it for 3 nights, and you're learning 200 lines plus if you're a main character. Because it's a different part every night, and they're all about 30 to 45 minutes every night. And he goes, these plays are so easy. They're so easy. I got 20, 30 lines. I already got them memorized. I'm done. So it really grooms them to go into their next level. Now he's directing. He's doing all kinds of other things, and a lot of the other people who run it all learned in children's ministry. So dramas. We're going to actually do some of, okay, let's see. Okay. If you're doing a Christian character, okay, I beg you, please don't make him stupid. Don't make him a dummy. Don't make him a dork, because the world does that enough. We don't need to do that. We don't need to make the Christian character uncool, where it's like, because years ago in our children's, we had that issue. It was where every time I would be in children's church, whoever played the Christian was a dork. Made me 100% not want to be a Christian. If that's, if I had to wear the glasses and googly and look really, don't make them a dork, okay? The world beats on Christians enough. The church doesn't need to do the same, okay? But also, on the other hand, don't make him super perfect, where he does anything wrong. If it's a repeating character, okay? If you do repeating characters, it's okay for that person to tell a lie, to sin, but not, be backslidden. But, understand, don't make him so perfect that the kids can't live up to that expectation. Because once you start developing characters in children's church and doing things like that, the kids look at them as celebrities. Whether you like it or not, you become a celebrity to the kids in your church. If I'm at Walmart or anywhere outside of church, and one of my kids see me, they automatically almost hide behind their parents. They're like almost starstruck. I'm like, yes, I don't live at church, so I do have to come and eat. Every once in a while I run into them. But it just reminds me how important it is to be a testimony and make you saved, serving God outside the church, because these kids 100% look up to you. We do, for our conference, we do posters. We have the kid. If you've ever been to Tucson, you've been to one of our children's church, we do posters with the kid for the play. Sign it. These kids in Tucson keep their posters for 20 years. I remember going into a teenager's house. They were moving or whatever. We were helping them move, and they had all their posters still on the wall from that. So drama has a great impact on your kids. So again, you want to make sure your Christian character is not a dork, not dumb, not mentally challenged, however you want to say it. But also you don't want them super perfect either. You want to have somebody who's, relatable to the kids, okay? The rules of drama, very simple. If you can't be heard, it doesn't do any good. Whoa, that's not good. Okay. If you talk too soft, you can have the greatest play in the world, but if no one can hear you, it doesn't do any good, okay? I have a voice that carries the sound men love when I go up and say, because my voice carries, not every voice does. So you have to practice on being loud but not yelling. If you guys use microphones, I'm just going to use one real quick over here. This is what we train our kids to do in the Christmas plays. If they have lines and if they need a mic, we make them rest it on their chin. So when you, not out here, but you rest it on your chin, so every time you turn, no matter where you go, your mic goes with you. It's just one of those little techniques that really, really help, because when you're dealing with kids or young people, they have a tendency to hold the mic out here. We have a tendency to hold the mic out, and then we turn our heads, and nobody hears what you just said. So if you rest it on your chin, no matter where you go, that mic goes everywhere with you. So it's just one of those techniques, because you want everyone to hear what you have to say. because you want to make sure the kids can't hear you, they get bored very easily. Okay, they're just not going to pay attention, okay? And, okay, so you can be heard. Don't be yourself. Okay, if you're a character, if you're a pirate, be a pirate. Don't be a pirate for a line, but be a pirate. And we're going to practice this right now, guys, so don't worry about it. I'll make you guys all do this stuff so we can all get used to doing this in humbleness. So just remember, whatever you do, do unto the Lord. Give it everything you have. So be a character. So, let's see. I need some pirates. Right there in the front row. Yeah, you, Gray. I voluntold. Oh, you're doing Spanish? Do one in Spanish. You. Let me see. You. Coming up. Okay. No, not you guys. You guys are a part of it. Come on up. Okay. All right. So, show me how you guys would be a pirate. Okay.
Probably like do an eye patch.
You do an eye patch, but you want to stay in character the whole time. So when you're a pirate, like, "Arr, matey, I'm here to get your eyeball. Oh, gotta take you out. You know, oh, it's pretty good." And then even when I don't have lines, "What are you doing? Got a bum leg." You know. So you want to stay in your character. So let's see your pirate. Let's go.
Arr, arr.
There you go. Okay. Arr, come on, see, this is humbling. This is what the kids like. So let's go. Let's go. Arr, matey, where's the treasure? Arr. Come on. This is what. He needs a parrot. See, he's already thinking about it. He's got it going on. Remember, you're not yourself. You become that character. So that's the one thing. When you become a character, you have to lose yourself. Lose your pride. Humble yourself. Thank you guys for being okay. Okay? Now, who wants to be a child? Everybody's sweating right here. Besides the kids. See, the kids love to do everything. Yeah, there you go. I saw that hand. Come on up. Oh, you didn't think I saw it? I'm pretty quick at this, okay? She's almost a child anyway. I need an adult woman here. Oh, there she is right there. I see her. In the brown shirt. Lupe, right? The one that keeps looking around with the glasses on? Yeah. Okay. So how would you be a kid? Okay, how do kids act? Like for you, I can see you could put pigtails on, you know, the shorts, and be like, "Oh my gosh darn, oh, I don't get my way." Can you guys do that? This is drama. This is what drama's about. Come on, let me see your kid. Come and okay, she's going to play the mom. You need to ask your mom if you can go to the park. No, you're not being a kid. You're being yourself. Okay, I want you to be a sweet little kid. When you're doing parts, you got to over-exaggerate. So if you're doing this, they can't see, so you got to be like, "Mom, please, can I go to the park? I know it's dark, but I want to go to the park because my friends are there. Please." "Mom, yes, no, maybe so." "I don't love you." Okay? Now do the same. Louder. Everybody's got to hear you back here. No. Okay. Now you're the mom and you're the kid.
Mom, can I please go to the park, please?
Is she a believable kid? Not picking on you, but again, when you're playing the part, you got to get down to their level. You know, they over-exaggerate, because if you just do a little one, they don't see it. So when you're doing this, that over-exaggeration, so the people and the cheap seats can see you. Okay, who couldn't afford to get to church on time. No. But you want it, so what you're trying to do is you become that character. So the hardest part of it, thank you guys, hardest part of acting is losing yourself, especially teenagers. A lot of times they got that ego, they got that, because this year we did Aladdin for our play. The girl who played Jasmine was 14, 15, she looks like she's about 12, but she played the part, and then the guy who played Aladdin was closer to 20. She had a real issue with that, so it was a battle for us the whole time. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to say her name. Can I say her name? She's not here. She can't stop me. So live her. But she played Jasmine, so she was like, Mr. Tim, this ain't real, because I would no way go with somebody who's 20-something. I'm like, who are you? And she, I said, no, you're not. You're Jasmine. Play the part. When you're playing the part, you need to get into the part. Now, we used to have a guy, so he's a pastor now in Silver City, but he used to play our Jack Sparrow a lot. Annoyed the snot out of me, because when he got into character and he was in it, you could not talk to him at all. Because the whole time he's like, yes, matey. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to talk to you. We're not on stage, but he literally would play the part once he got into costume. Annoy me to death. I was like, dude, I understand when you're trying to stay in character, but you're going to be a dead pirate soon, okay, if you don't stop. You're annoying me. But that's part of what you got to understand. When you're acting, you need to sell it to the kids. You got to learn to the big exaggerations, the big movements, so the people in the back can see you. If you have little movements, nobody can see you doing that, So, who wants to be homeless? All right, there you go. Come on up. You're going to be homeless, and you're going to be the guy with money. You're going to be homeless. You're going to be trying to ask him for money. So, use any props, anything you got. And remember, when you're acting, you always want to look at the audience when you're talking. So you want to turn this way so the audience can see your facial expressions. Okay? So you're just going to be kind of walking around. And so if you're going to talk to him, you want to be more up here. You're fine where you're at, but because you don't want to be like way back here, so he has to turn his head to you. And one of the hardest, this is a good example, is when he's talking, he's going to say something, but then he's going to turn his head back to the audience so they can see your facial expressions. Go ahead.
Hey, you got the money? Stay away from my shoes. You got the money? What is wrong with you? You got some nice shoes there, buddy. This is some ridiculous person here. Stay away from me, I'll call the police.
Now, the only thing is, look at the audience when you're no, you can crawl, but crawl this way with your head towards the audience so they can see your facial expression. I can see them, they're great, but they couldn't see any of them. So do it again.
Hey, buddy. These shoes are Prada. Oh, my God. Somebody's asking me for money. I knew I shouldn't have come to this town.
And then you walk away, and then you'll be like, oh, well, it didn't work this time. I need a beer. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, that's not what homeless would say? Okay, so when you're playing the part, again, like when he was first doing it, it was great, but you couldn't see any of his facial reactions, correct? Because they were all looking. So acting is so different. When you're talking to somebody, you want to be face to face with them, but when you're acting, you're like, oh, so how's it going? Oh, it's been going pretty good. I got this. But now all of a sudden, I'm not looking at that person anymore because I want the audience, and then you can come back and do a quarter glance and everything like that. Let's see. So stay in character. Use body language. When you're on stage, you don't have any lines. You do have lines. Because you can be like, you can be the pirate. Arr! You can deliver your line beautifully. Arr, matey, I got the treasure. And then, arr, there we go again. You have to stay in character the whole time. So when he's like that, then he's like, arr, and then he's like, you use your hand motions, you use your body motions to move around stage to help sell what you're trying to get across. Because especially when you're working with somebody and you don't have lines and somebody else is talking, don't look blank when they're saying their lines. Act like you care what they're saying, or if they're saying something that's scary, you're like, oh, ooh, oh. You're like you're listening, so you want to sell what you're listening to. Even though they're talking, you're not just waiting for your line to come up to say your line. You're having that conversation. Like when you talk to somebody, you have expressions, right? Like, oh, that's so sad. Oh, I'm sorry. But you can just by tilting your head, you're like, oh, I feel bad for you. You got hit by a car. That's too bad. So it's very easy to do things like that. So one of the other ways, you're like, well, we don't have a lot of people in our church, so we can't do these big skits. So I had Mikey here, is going to show you how to do a narrated. Now, some of you guys are like, okay, real quick before you guys come. Some of you guys are, we're just not very creative. We just don't know what we can do for skits. I just don't know how to write. There's this really cool book out there. I think most of you guys might have seen it before, probably even read it. It's called the Bible. There's tons of stories in the Bible that you can just literally pull from. I mean, and you can rewrite them a little bit, but they're great stories. Some of them you don't even have to add anything to it. Sometimes you might have to take some stuff away because it's pretty graphic, but the Bible is one of the greatest resources there is to tell stories. You can flip it modern, you can just tell it as is, and so what we're going to do here is called a narrated story, and he's going to just narrate the story, and the precious kids who have been excited to do something because they love to do stuff are going to do it. So I'm going to leave it to Mikey. Come up and take over, Mikey. And whoever's telling the story, tell the story. So I'm going to let them go, and I'm going to watch it myself. I'll judge you later, Michael. No, say.
All right. This is our drama team, McAllen drama team. We like to call them the preteen drama team. We're going to do a little story on Jonah, all right? All right, you guys ready? Tiny shoe. Gang into character. Alrighty, guys. This is the story of Jonah. The word of the Lord came to Jonah, saying, Jonah, get up, go to Nineveh, and tell those people what they are doing is wrong, dead wrong. So Jonah got up and went to Joppa. In Joppa, he found a ship, and he asked, is this ship going to Tarshish? Yes, said the captain. So Jonah paid him the currency for the ride. While Jonah was on the ship, the Lord sent a huge storm. And Jonah did not notice the storm because he was still asleep. He was asleep. The wind blew, the waves were crashing, and Jonah snored away. Everyone was afraid, and they cried to their gods for help. And when the captain saw Jonah when he was asleep, he said, get up, you lazy bum.
Get up, you lazy bum.
Ask your God to help us. One of the sailors said, somebody ticked God off. Let's throw these dice to find out who. They threw dice, and they all looked at Jonah. And they started asking him, who are you? Why did you do this to us? Where did you come from? What did you do? They all yelled the questions at Jonah. And Jonah answered, I am a Hebrew. I fear the Lord, and I ran from the presence of God. All the sailors and the captain began running around in panic, screaming, we're all dead. We're so dead. Jonah said, this storm is because of me. Put me in the water, and maybe the storm will stop. Then they all lowered Jonah. They started lowering Jonah into the sea. And they went on, and they threw him. And a ginormous fish swallowed Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish for 3 days and nights. Jonah prayed to God, saying, God, I'm in the belly of a fish, and I know you hear my prayer. I will do what you ask me to do. God then spoke to the fish, and boom, the fish threw up Jonah onto dry land. And then the word of the Lord came to Jonah, again saying, get up, go to Nineveh, preach to them the words I will give you. So Jonah then went on and preached the gospel, and the people stopped doing evil things.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Now, and some of that, you could even make that a little bit longer. And as, like some of you heard the captain say, what's going on, make the kids repeat it. And a lot of it, yes, they did act that out. They had a little bit of practice, but you can do that very live with the kids. Have the script written up and be like, okay, you're the captain and stuff. And the captain said, oh my gosh, there's a storm. Oh, very good. Thank you very much there, see? And that way it gets the kids really involved, but it's a simple way of doing it if you don't have a lot of adults to be able to do a play. It's just one of those quick ways. And then I like icebreakers and stuff, like the ones that you saw us do with that, we don't practice those a lot. Well, here we practice because they were a little new to them, but in Tucson, we don't practice them at all. We're just like, okay, what's the icebreakers when we meet? Okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Okay, I'll yell at you guys. You guys all know the drill. So it's just, but icebreakers is just one quick way of doing it. Let me see. Ad-libbing. Okay, I need some people to ad-lib here. Okay, let's see. You? Diego? No one behind you. Come on up here. Okay. You're going to tell your best friend you killed their dog. Okay. All right, who's going to be his friend? Mr. Washington, you look like you really need a friend. Of the commanders, you definitely out here probably need a friend, so I'm just going to say. So, what you're going to do is you're going to go let them know, hey, can you watch my dog for me? Really, it's really precious to me. I love my dog, whatever. Whatever you want to say, walk off. Somehow you killed the dog. He comes back. You got to explain to him what happened to his dog. Okay? Quick little ad lib. Go ahead. A little louder. They got to be able to hear you in the cheap seats. It's called acting. There you go. Pretty good there. Good job. I know it's embarrassing coming up on stage freelancing it. But a lot of times, especially when you're in a smaller children's church, you're going to have to learn just to do those quick ad-lib. They did a pretty good job stating character. He showed you how he killed the dog, so don't leave your dog with him. He's already got a method. So, again, it's a lot of fun. The scripted plays, again, in Tucson, we do a lot of scripted plays because of the conference. And then even because Tucson, we are blessed. I always admire the smaller church because you guys have to do it every week. I get a 3-week break in between every time I'm on because we have 4 teams that run our children's church. So I'm on every second Sunday, so we get to practice, brainstorm, have pizza, have a good time. If you need motivation for your kids, for workers, pizza. Free pizza works great because when we have our practice sessions, we used to have all the kids go out and everybody get food and come back. Half of them got raptured. The other ones found a restaurant that took forever. So one of our leaders, every time I would see him, he's always was taking pizza in. It's like, what are you doing that for? And he goes, well, because they're hungry. They don't have to go out to eat. It doesn't cost them much. Little Caesars is cheap. He goes, they eat enough. We're able to practice and go home. So, and I was like, that's a brilliant idea. So I took his idea. And then now our problem is we have the Golden Corral when we're there because everybody brings this food. And it's quite a buffet. And the time we get done eating, nobody wants to practice. One of the downfalls, but but it's just one of the ways how we work with our kids. We're like, okay, teenagers love to eat, but our adults love to eat. But it's not just the eating; it's also a way to bond with your team, to bond with people. You sit down, you're eating, you're having a good time, and we find out it's a really, really good time doing that. We get to learn more about art, the people who we're working with, and you become a lot closer and a lot tighter. So let's see, what else do we have for? Any questions about acting? Nobody wants to get embarrassed, right? So again. I can see the hesitation when people, but when you're doing it for the kids, you got to sell it out. You got to give the kids your best. So when you're speaking, you remember trying to look at the kids, facial expressions, sell a lot in what you're saying. Trying to think, like when we do the drama, the written scripts are a lot different. We've practiced those for months and, for conference and stuff. But when we're just doing the live ones, I've had kids, one of our kids, he wrote the skit for us. I think he had his mom might have helped him, but he wrote a three-part skit. Did a great job. He played the main character, and he enjoyed it. So, again, let your kids be creative. Yes?
Do the parents have to do the acting, or can kids do it?
Kids do the acting. Well, we do a mixture of whoever really volunteers for it or voluntold for it. Depends on if no one's volunteering to help. I'm like, you'll do it, you'll do it, you'll do it. But a lot of the teenagers like to help. I have the adults help. We have a good mixture of who's doing it. So you just got to find that balance on who can do what. And then you know what? And then, again, sometimes you're this is not even a drama, but just in children's church, get to know who your people are. Find out what they like to do and what they don't like to do. Because you got some people who wants to help behind the scenes all the time, but they don't want to be up front. And if you push them up front, you may lose them. They're like, that's not that ministry for me. So get to know who your workers are, your people are. But sometimes, it just takes a little bit of encouragement to make them uncomfortable. And it's okay to make them a little uncomfortable, but if you see, they're really just not doing this, they don't want to do this, but they excel at something else, let them do that something else. So just be smart about how you use your people in your children's ministry. Because I used to get all of our new young servants, as we call them, or the preteens, when they came in, I'd put them all in the biggest parts and make them sweat and all that. But I ended up losing a lot of them because they didn't want to do that. That's not who they were. So I realized I need to know my workers, what they like to do, what their abilities are. And sometimes it's just shyness. Sometimes, like I said, you do got to give them the gentle nudge, but sometimes it's just like, you know what? It's not them. Let's find something else. They love to help with arts and crafts. They love to do other things. So, again, know who your workers are. And the ones who are like goofy and funny, put them on acting because that's what they love to do. And then your kids, like for the skit there, pull your kids up. If you're doing a Bible story, pull them up. You put them in costumes, even better. If you don't have costumes, it doesn't matter. They love to help. Your kids love to be involved whatever you're doing. Any questions on acting? I couldn't do a whole lot, but, just a quick snippets of stuff. But again, you need to be super loud as you can so everybody can hear you. And just remember, your kids' attention span, I didn't go over this, you'll get the freebie. For every age there, if they're 1 year old, they have an attention span of 1 minute. If they're 5 years old, they have an attention span of 5 minutes. I think, honestly, it's probably getting a little less than that just with modern technology and stuff and all the things that happen. But usually that's how you gauge, like when we did our order of service, you see how quickly everything moved. It kept changing as we went along. So every time you change something, you reset their time in their heads. They don't realize you're doing that, but you're doing that, you reset them. They're like, oh, we're starting something new. Now that you got them for at least 5 minutes or more, then you do something different. But again, you could reset your kids even in a drama. When somebody goes, all of a sudden, everybody looks, well, you just reset them. I do that a lot. I tell stories a lot, and in my stories, when I see I'm starting to lose them, I'll just do something, and all of a sudden they're back on track. So it's about keeping your kids focused, and you can see in the dramas, if the kids are bored, I'm just going to tell you, it's probably because you're boring. No offense, but, my wife's not here to stop me from saying anything. Her prayer request every time I come up and do this is, please, Lord, don't let my husband say anything ridiculous. She sends that out to all our kids to pray for me, but it happens.
What's a good way to keep on projecting?
Is learning to bounce your voice off the back. Have somebody sit in the back, because when we do ours, we have the kids acting. I'm way in the back of the room, and I'm like, can't hear you. Be loud. There you go. That's what I'm looking for. And so that's just the way you do have to practice it. You have to keep, you're in the back of the room or they're in the back so you can hear it. And then if you can't see their faces, like when you're practicing, don't do it while you're on stage. I've done it before, but don't do what I do. Don't yell, hey, I can't see your face. Or if they're not using the mic correctly. Our biggest thing with our young servants is using the mics correctly because they have them way out here. And when they turn their heads, they can't hear what they're saying. Or even adults, I'm just like, just rest it on your chin. And wherever you go, the mic will go with you. And then if you have a small enough room, you should be able to lift their voices enough to be able to bounce off the back wall. Because we even tell our kids, well, you guys have mics, but what if your mic breaks? What if the mics aren't working? Then nobody can hear you. So I got to be able to hear you all the way to our soundboard. So be loud, and that's how we practice with our kids. Is we're like, no, I can't hear you. Be loud, no. There you go. That's what I'm looking for.
When it comes to practicing lines like that with the children, how much time do you actually give them to start being able to learn it?
It depends on if we're doing a Christmas play or something like that. We start in October. I mean, we really will start in October, and we'll go from there. I finally got someone to take over the Christmas plays for me, so I don't do those anymore. But we will start in like in October. We'll do a couple auditions. It depends on your kids and stuff like that. We'll do a couple tryouts to see who's at what part, and then here's your lines. Tell the parents. And honestly, in a lot of it, when we do those Christmas plays, A lot of it depends on the parents, because the kid might have some talent, be good, but you know that they don't come to church, they're kind of flaky, So sometimes we give our bigger parts, so we're like, we know their parents are going to make them do everything, and they're going to be on top of it, because we want to present a good Christmas play, and we don't want the kid coming in not knowing its lines. So that's one of the things. They do need time, practice with them, make them work hard. And they will. They'll go do a great performance. And don't be afraid to say, no, I need you to do this or that, okay? Any other questions? You guys have any questions? Good, because you weren't here. No, I was kidding. All right, I think we're done.